Yeah, I heard 6 more weeks of winter, according to the rodent up into Pennsylvania. As it is Groundhog Day. I mean, you can't not love really Groundhog Day if you're a weather person, right? I mean, it's kind of he takes all the bad karma, at least for the next 6 weeks. We can just blame him anytime we get a storm from here on out. Gets us off the hook for a while until next year. But yes, Punxsutawney Phil did see a shadow, and technically we have 6 more weeks of winter regardless on the calendar, so it's just more of a fun saying. But I always love this time of the year anyway. Even as a kid, always got up early in the day and watched the Today Show just to see what would happen. It's always a fun tradition. It's nice to still see traditions like that still take place. It's kind of reminds you, since you were a kid, seeing stuff like that. So Punxsutawney is going for 6 more weeks of winter, and I do think we have plenty more winter, obviously, to go when it comes to wintry weather. We'll talk a little about that on the longer term. There's also something we need to cover for next week. I do want to at least mention, but more importantly, in the short range, it's actually going to be an Arctic front coming our way, and not much in the way of snow, but this one is really going to get your attention over the next several hours. So just be aware of that. As always, you can comment. Let me know your thoughts on the groundhog or just how your Thursday is going in general. Hope everyone's doing well. Hello, Angela. Hope all is well for you. Hello to Jimmy over into Mount Washington. Let's see. If it's going to be that cold, isn't it for low temps for snow? I thought there was a point where it's too cold to snow, basically, is what Sherry is saying. No, it can always snow. It just doesn't look the same. Like a wet snow like we had, was it 2 Sundays ago? I can't remember. I'm losing my mind. I think it was 2 Sundays ago. We had the giant snowflakes coming down, or the snowballs that were coming out of the sky. That's a very wet snow versus you get into the Arctic and it's more like dust that falls and from the sky, like crystals. So they just become very, very small when you get very, very cold. And in some cases, they're suspended in the air. You don't even see them fall at all. But it can always, if there's moisture in the air and it's cold, yeah, it'll form. All right, so here we go. Let's start with the snowboard, and this is probably going to be the least exciting part of the blog here because, once again, I had to keep it blank. Now, I may be able to have something on this maybe tomorrow. I may be able to add something to it. My comments aren't there yet today on it, even though I do think we could get a few flurries later on tonight, early tomorrow. That would be right. At this point, we've seen enough of flurries. We've seen enough of freeze and drizzle. As I was telling, I think it was Adam that hit me up on Instagram. He was talking about the icy scene that he's got. I think he's over in Shelby County. I was like, yeah, I think we just need to reset this icy mixture stuff, sleet that was on the side of the roads and stuff, and all the salt that's on the roads now. Let's just clean up the roads here, get a good rain, kind of reset things, and let's try it again. That's how I feel as a snow lover. Because right now it's just messy out, right? And again, cold and dry is absolutely the worst, but that's exactly what I think we're going to be facing for at least the next 48 hours ahead. The exception actually being this afternoon. I don't want to discount this afternoon because it won't be bad. It's beautiful out there now. I mean, it's hazy sunshine, high level clouds will be over us today, but still enough we'll get through that we'll be able to get to or even above 40, which again is going to be quite warm compared to what's coming our way for tomorrow. So let's look at the current numbers. 29 into Louisville, 21, Seymour, 19 in Bedford. Still around the freezing mark or lower in many areas. So it is a cold morning, no doubt. But the sun, at least the hazy sunshine, is going to help in getting us back closer to normal for this second day of February. It's quiet on the radar locally. That system really was just squished to the south. Dry air really ate away at that, where it really was not much of an issue. For even Tennessee, they didn't get much of a problem out of this. It's mainly been Texas, Austin area. I mean, the pictures, I'm sure you guys have seen them on social media. If you have friends or family there, anywhere from Austin all the way up to Dallas, it's just, ice storm. That doesn't really get to the point like we had in 2009, but for them in Texas, even a half inch of ice is a big ordeal. Their power grid still dealing with that at the moment. It's still more of a mixture into Arkansas, but the good news is warmer air is actually punching into the system here where it is right on the boundary. So it shouldn't be as bad today as we've seen on the news the past couple of days. But still, leftovers in Texas, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while as they try to warm things back up. But it's not south that we are watching. It's actually north. And you just see it's cut off at the very top. But there is the actual polar vortex. That is it. Dropping in across central Canada. And it's heading into New England, especially around Nova Scotia and Maine. So wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings are out for the upper Midwest, parts of the Great Lakes, and certainly into New England, where some of the numbers are coming in on wind chill. Numbers I've seen anywhere from about 50 below zero to perhaps about 90 below zero. It's supposed to be a 9. That's the average that I'm seeing on the data as we get into tonight into Friday. So, wow. I mean, that's beyond dangerous cold. That's just a life-threatening situation even for them that they're anchoring up. And for some areas in New England, they haven't had much in the way of cold weather the entire winter. So I guess you guys saw the other day, New York had its first snow of the winter, the latest they've ever had to wait, and it was under a half inch. So imagine being a snow lover in New York City. It's been worse there than it's been here. And that's difficult. All right, so let's track this Arctic front because we're going to get the tail of it. We're not going to get the full-on attack. It's going to be curved all the way out to Nova Scotia and Maine, so we're just going to get grazed by it. So today we're fine. It doesn't arrive until, say, 2 or 3 a.m. tonight. That's when it'll drop in, and you'll be able to see it. It has that look to it on the Futurecast. You can see the clouds being pulled. It's trying to pull moisture off the Great Lakes is what it's trying to do, but there's just not enough to really get too excited about, but it is an Arctic front, so we do tend to get flurries out of this. Even the modeling doesn't show it. The soundings have very little moisture. A lot of it's drier, but very little moisture, about 850, 5,000 feet up. It's possible we could get flurries out of that. So just don't be surprised what I'm trying to say. I think the bigger story is certainly the cold drop. You may even feel it in the house. I mean, it gets cold anyway at night this time of year, right? But around 2 or 3 a.m., you may just suddenly toss and turn the bed a little extra, but the house gets really cold suddenly in about an hour's time, and the furnace will be kicking on everywhere at the same time, 2 or 3 a.m. And that's going to lead to a very cold start to tomorrow morning for heading out to work and for the kids at the bus stop. And we'll hold on to it all day tomorrow. Even though we're going to get lots of sunshine tomorrow, it is going to be cold, cold, cold. I mean, true Arctic air from the North Pole moving into wave country. Now, if we had snow on the ground all the way to the Ohio River, or even here, and with this kind of a front, it would be probably, it would rival at least what happened in December on cold. So at least that's the good news about not having snow, because we don't want to deal with that kind of cold again. So this gives you an idea. If it wasn't for the fact that we have at least some dry ground to add some friction here to that front, where we end up trying to warm it up somewhat compared to areas to the north. We stay cold again, even into Friday night, Saturday morning. Now, I know a lot of you don't get up early on Saturday and venture out, but if you get up and take the dog walking, whatever the case is, it will be very similar, actually. in many cases, the wind chill may not be as bad Saturday morning, but the actual temperature may be lower. So both mornings for the next 2 days will be bitterly cold. But Saturday is one of those days where it's really, really cold in the morning, and then we rapidly warm up in the afternoon. High clouds stream in, but don't worry about that. It'll add for like a hazy sun look, nice sunset overall, but dry weather Saturday and Sunday. So we're looking good. May even stay above freezing actually Saturday night. So what a flip that will be in about a 24-hour window. Then we get into next week. Now I'm going to show you first the Euro model on precipitation, and then we'll dive into where I think there is some concern here. First off, you see the low pressure developing there into Texas. Once again, notice there's more rain showing up on this one and not snow, because the cold Arctic air that arrives tonight and tomorrow, it retreats quickly, heads out and back into the eastern side of Canada, heading toward Greenland. So it's not going to be a factor any longer. It's going to be retreating. So we have a chance to keep this mainly liquid. But we flip the narrative here on this. Now it's a rain, wind scenario, maybe thunderstorms. There is snow on the back side of that in your deformation zone of the upper low. Pretty classic setup for that in the Midwest. So not worried about that. It will likely be the main feature on the whole map. There are signs that there will be like a quick little clipper that wants to develop into something else. Euro is not excited about this at the moment. Yesterday it was trying to bomb it out into a bigger system for areas of the mid-Atlantic. Not really here, but it would keep us cold. But that's still being sorted out. I think it's the main low we got to figure out first as it moves on by, and then relatively quiet weather after that. So let me show you the issue, though. Let me give you an idea of the upper air flow. And I know this looks like a lot of pretty colors, but here's Louisville right here. We're looking at the entire Western Hemisphere. And as we look at it, I want you guys to get an idea of the jet stream will look something like this. I mean, clear off my marker here. Hold on 1 second. There we go. It'll be very sharp dip of a low pressure here. Then it goes up, and then another dip out in this area. Hold on. I just realized my pen isn't right. Hold on 1 second. Let me fix that. There we go. Got it fixed. Sorry. Just don't want to mess y'all up. Okay. So what we can see here is that this bowling ball, if you will, that's going to be rolling out of the Rockies is going to move into Texas. Now watch what happens as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. That bowling ball itself really tightens up over the area, say around Arkansas, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, and Kentucky, and Tennessee. Because of the ridge here in the southeast, it's really going to deepen into a stronger low pressure and cut into the Great Lakes. Now, the Euro started hinting at this a couple of days ago, really started to strongly hint at this yesterday, and even this morning it's doing the same thing. What does this mean? Well, at the least, from what I can tell on this would mean a round of rain. Some of it could be locally heavy, but wind could be quite strong. Just general wind I'm talking about. Could see gust that could get up to 50 miles per hour or even higher. So this has got wind advisory written all over it for Wednesday. Now, your obvious question next is going to be severe weather. Yes, that is certainly a possibility with a setup like this, if the Euro is correct, only because of timing. It moves it in the afternoon hours on Wednesday, a very strong wind field aloft. We don't know how much moisture there's going to be or instability, and we're not going to know that for a few more days. But it is an impressive look right now. And certainly if the data holds onto this, we're going to be throwing an alert day on this one just to make sure everybody keeps an eye on it, just in case. And then it rolls on out, and we kind of see the same pattern repeat itself right after this with another low doing the same thing, diving in across California and the Four Corners area. The GFS handles it a little differently. It's, again, we draw where it looks. The jet stream's like this, yada, 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 boom, boom, there you go. Still has the low pressure moving in, but what it wants to do by Wednesday, it wants to basically cut it off completely and close off the low pressure, what we call like a wave break that happens off the main flow. And this becomes the main feature on the map. So anything when it comes to thunderstorms or severe weather would actually take place more into Oklahoma and Missouri, and not here. So it's much further west, only because it cuts off and then cuts. The Euro holds on a bit longer like a bowling ball and then charges into Ohio Valley, then cuts. Two different complete ideas. The ensembles are very similar on both of them. But I do think it is a dynamic system that will likely repeat itself. We may see another one like this around Valentine's Day doing the same storyline. Then after that, I do think we're going to get into a pattern where the cold is going to try to attack more often. The second half of February, warm weather is going to rule certainly for the next 10 to 14 days on average. It's going to roll. It's going to be above. But once we get into the second half of February and certainly into March, the charts are all over the place. A very dynamic pattern where you can get severe weather, you can get flooding, and you can get wintry weather involved in the eastern part of the country. It doesn't look boring or quiet. That's probably a better word, quiet. It doesn't look quiet. It's very noisy. There's a lot happening that we'll have to be tracking down the road. And one of the features I'll be watching will be the Euro ensembles, the Matrix, for any snow chances. You see, it's got noise there after Valentine's Day, but it doesn't know. It's nothing exciting, but there's at least something in the cards there showing up where Codar tries to get involved. So that's why I can't put anything on the snowboard, is there's nothing that stands out to me that would even be remotely a low confidence scenario. Okay, right now I think our focus is next Wednesday. What will happen with that low? Does it remain a bowling ball effect, or will it cut north a lot sooner and then we end up on a much tamer side of the storyline? All right, does that make sense? I hope it does. Let me know. Yeah, Travis, colder pattern. Again, I think it's going to be later into the month. We got some time here, and March is going to be tough. What's it, Glenda? I'm having groundhog this morning. Oh, sauce. Okay, you scared me for a minute. My mom's actually got a groundhog that's in her front yard, and those things are huge, and they're not shy. Now the dogs haven't seen it yet. I'm trying to keep that from happening. I'm more worried about Dandy than anything. It's Dandy. Yeah, Dandy would see it as lunch. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up for now. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I've done enough this week, right? But I want to make sure you guys understand where we're at on the theme, and we'll kind of break all these storylines up on our newscast today with the Arctic front, the weekend outlook, and the system for next week. That'll be the main themes, but this is your more in-depth look at all three of those items. Thanks for watching, as always. I appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy being above freezing today, because you know what's coming later on tonight. And, of course, we'll run through all the numbers coming up on midday at 11 a.m. See you soon, guys.